to be repairing a wall today that has some cracking and bowing in it with a Rhino carbon fiber wall repair kit. We look in our kit here, we open it up, we have everything we need except for the tools to install the product. Rubber gloves, we have our two-part epoxy. So I like to go ahead and take everything out of the kit, set it here on the floor. We have our carbon fiber repaired. We have 3 of those in every kit, so every kit comes with everything you need to do 3 full repairs. You have your brackets, hardware with the brackets, you have your instructions. Instructions are nice and easy to read, and I highly suggest you look through the instructions completely before starting the project, because you have to remove all the paint off the wall, and you want to make sure you're locating these properly. What I like to do is use your mortar joints here. You have one here and one here, and use that as a guideline to keep it nice and straight. So we've located our first strap here. We've grinded the wall. We've used a Bosch dustless grinder with a Bosch air sweep system, and we've grinded everything off the wall. We've removed the paint and got it ready to install. Make sure we have the proper safety equipment, so we want to put our safety glasses on here. We want to check the wall for any caulking. As walls start to bow, sometimes people repair them as they paint them with a little bit of caulking because it's a small crack. It's very important that we take that out. If we don't take that out, it allows the wall to move backwards. It'll never come any further, but it will go backwards. With these cracks that we have are small enough that we don't need to do any mortar repair. But if they're much bigger than this, we'd actually want to take that mortar joint out with a dustless tuck pointer. You can rent all these from Home Depot or Lowe's. And then what we're going to do is before we put our carbon fiber up, we'll apply a little extra epoxy here because we have really small cracks to make sure those cracks are filled and they're not going to move backwards. First, start with our top bracket. We went ahead and pre-drilled our holes, and I suggest you do so. So a lot of times you end up splitting the sill plate, and that's something you don't want to do. So now that we have our bracket attached, we've got our carbon fiber hanging here, we've got it ready to start putting our epoxy on. Remember, we want to fill our cracks first, make sure that we got a little extra epoxy in those. We're going to wet the wall down behind the carbon fiber and just lift it up. We're going to lay the carbon fiber in it, and then we're going to work our way down to the bottom. We'll make sure we get our gloves on first. When you open our epoxy, you always want to do it over top of your box. And you want to save your top because you can put this back in and reuse the epoxy by just using a new mixing tube. You apply our mixing tube by just simply screwing it on. If you have any questions about the cure time of the epoxy, the safety instructions are right on the back of it, and it tells you at what temperature, how long you're going to have before it's cured. So here, when we apply our epoxy, we're going to gently squeeze. You don't have to force it out. The gun actually does the work for you. And as it comes through the end of this, it mixes it together perfectly. So it's a two-part formula. A lot of the epoxies come in one container and another container. You got to get them out and mix them together in a bowl and try to apply it to the wall, and you never get the right ratio. So this is a really nice system. So what we're going to do is we're going to pre-apply some of the epoxy to these cracks. It's okay if it runs a little bit. We'll fix that. It's just run right down the wall where we're going to apply more epoxy anyway, so we just put a little bit more in this area. Now that we have that done, we're going to come down the wall in a back and forth motion right over top the block underneath the carbon fiber where it's going to be placed. It's going to naturally run down the wall, so you don't necessarily have to put too much on. Typically, you're going to get, for one tube of epoxy, you're going to get about 12 foot of carbon fiber. So in this case, 2/3 of a tube will take care of the whole strap. Now make sure you release the gun on the back with a little button here. By pushing this, it keeps it from pushing any further. And I like to rest this on my box. Then I'm going to put all my wet epoxy stuff in. Now we start down the wall. We just simply lay our hand down this and push it into the epoxy epoxy actually absorbs into the carbon fiber. Now for our pin down here at the bottom, we're going to make sure we have a 3/4 inch hole drill, which we already do, right where the wall and the floor meet. Okay. Now what we've done, we've installed our pin down here at the bottom. And as we go back over top of this, in the top part of it with epoxy, we'll fill that hole up with epoxy. We're going to start up top and make sure we get plenty of epoxy up here around our bracket, underneath of our lap piece, and on the bracket. You notice I'm only getting one hand into the epoxy so I can use the other hand on the gun. I'm going to get this all nice and wet with epoxy. And I'm going to come back and run my hands over and get it smoothed out the way I want it. If for some reason you miss a spot with epoxy, you can do it after the fact. Or if you have a piece that you cut too short, or two scrap pieces, you're able to overlap them just by making sure they overlap by 3 inches. It's the same strength as a full piece. Kind of make sure that I got a nice good coverage here. Got plenty of epoxy on it. Epoxy is clear, so you can get it on anything. At least will not make a mark, but it definitely will be hard. You can see we've just about completely completed our carbon fiber repair here. And the wall is now stronger than if you had a steel beam against it. When a concrete wall first breaks, it breaks at 550 psi. This takes it to over 50,000 psi that it takes to break it. At that point, it literally would rip the wall in half.